Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition. And folks, President Biden has been pushing hard for the Build Back Better agenda before he leaves for the climate summit in Europe, in Glasgow, in 24 hours. But in the meantime, folks, let's start with another episode of the DC Comedy Hour. And in this episode of the DC Comedy Hour, before we get into the president's comments, let's take a look at Mitt Romney, the one and only Senator Mitt Romney, preparing for Halloween. Yes, you heard that right, folks. Mitt Romney is actually getting ready for Halloween. Let's start with this tweet on your screen from Mitt Romney. He says, "If you believe in yourself and have clear eyes and full hearts, you can't lose." And let's take a look at this image that Mitt Romney posted on his Twitter feed. Now, in case you're wondering what this is about, well, folks, it depends on whether you watch Ted Lasso or not on Apple TV. So let's take a look at another tweet from Mitt Romney where he says, "Warming up for Halloween weekend with the grandkids. As Ted Lasso says, your body is like day-old rice. If it ain't warmed up properly, something real bad could happen." And here's another image with Mitt Romney. I can tell you that this did make me laugh a little bit. Now, this may or may not make you laugh. Here's another tweet from Mitt Romney. This time, he's with the one and only Senator Kristen Sinema, the Democrat from Arizona, and he tweets, "She's one tough cookie." What I find interesting is that United States senators have the time to do stuff like this, but hey, this is America. Here's another tweet with Mitt Romney where he says, I quote, "Biscuits with the boss," and he gave what I presume to be biscuits to Senator Kristen Sinema, the Democrat from Arizona. So yep, folks, that is exactly what's going on. In the meantime, the Democrats are not happy with what's going on with the Build Back Better agenda. Here's Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, the Democrat, and she said, I quote, "I don't think I've quite seen the sausage making this difficult or this making you sick to your stomach." She's quite fed up that the whole Build Back Better agenda is not materializing as it should. Let's roll the tape and check out what Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, the Democrat, had to say. She's from Michigan. Let's watch.
Legislation is the art of compromise. That compromise isn't a dirty word. You bring everybody to the table, you listen to your perspectives. You've heard the old Will Rogers saying, which I think is probably more in play than I've ever heard it. People with weak stomach shouldn't watch sausage or laws being made. I don't think I've quite seen the sausage making this difficult or this, making you sick to your stomach. But we're not done. We don't know what's in it. Let's hear what the president says.
And speaking of Democrats, here's another interesting comment from the House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, the Democrat, who says, I quote, "Paid family leave appears to be out of the Build Back Better plan." And he said clearly one of the United States Senators, Joe Manchin, has indicated he does not favor this program. Let's roll the tape and watch what the House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, the Democrat, had to say. Let's watch.
Well, it appears to be, but I don't know. I can't answer that specifically. Clearly, one of the United States senators, Joe Manchin, has indicated he does not favor that program. But let me tell you, rather than focusing what's not in the program, it is an extraordinary, fulsome program.
And folks, if you thought that comment was interesting from the House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, the Democrat, you're going to find this comment even more surprising. In fact, I would say it's downright shocking. Congressman Steve Cohen, the Democrat from Tennessee, was specifically asked, what are the concerns being raised by progressive caucus members? And he said this: "Trust of Manchin and Sinema, that's the problem." The reporter asked, is it trust or is it distrust? And Cohen replied, I would say it's the latter. Folks, this is as surprising as it gets. You have a Democrat saying that other Democrats do not trust Manchin or Sinema. Wow. Let's roll the tape and see what Congressman Steve Cohen, the Democrat from Tennessee, had to say. Let's watch.
So what are the concerns being raised by progressive caucus members still at this point?
Well, about the substance and basically it's a trust of Manchin and Sinema. And that's the problem.
Is it a trust or is it a distrust?
Well, I would say it's the latter.
What do you need from them to calm those concerns?
Saying that they agree with the framework as laid out by the president.
Do you think
go forward?
And folks, before I get to President Biden's important comments today, here's Katie Couric actually speaking with Dr. Fauci, and she asks, are unvaccinated people the reason we're seeing these new strains? And Dr. Fauci says the answer is short from Dr. Fauci. He simply says yes. Well, folks, this is pretty incredible. Let's roll the tape and see exactly what Dr. Fauci said about this. Let's watch.
Are unvaccinated people the reason we're seeing these new strains? And will an increase in vaccinations mitigate the virus morphing in multiple ways?
Well, that's a good one because the answer is short, yes.
And folks, speaking of what's happening, President Biden held a press conference today, and he didn't take any questions at the end of the press conference, but he did aggressively push the Build Back Better agenda. Let's roll the tape and check out some highlights of important comments from President Biden about the Build Back Better agenda and how he's pushing for it ahead of the European Climate Summit in Glasgow, which takes place next week, but he's leaving in the next 24 hours. Let's roll the tape and watch. Check this out and let me know what you think.
It's a framework that will create millions of jobs, grow the economy, invest in our nation and our people, turn the climate crisis into an opportunity and put us on a path not only to compete, but to win the economic competition for the 21st century against China and every other major country in the world. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to expand services for seniors so families can get help from well-trained, well-paid professionals to help them take care of their parents at home, to cook meals for them, to get their groceries for them, to help them get around, to help them live in their own home with the dignity they deserve to be afforded. Today, there are nearly 2 million women in America not working today simply because they can't afford child care. Typical family spends about $11,000 a year on child care. Some states, it's $14,500 a year per child. We're going to make sure nearly all families earning less than $300,000 a year will pay no more than 7% of their income for child care. And for a family making $100,000 a year, that will save them more than $5,000 in child care. This is a fundamental game changer for families and for our economy, as more parents, especially women, can get back to work and work in the workforce. I'm looking at a lot of significant press people in front of me. A lot of them are working mothers. They know what it costs. I remember when I got to the Senate, I lost my wife and daughter in an accident, my 2 boys. I started commuting 250 miles a day because I had my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister to help me take care of my kids because I couldn't afford child care, and I was getting a serious salary, $42,000 a year. They're going to make sure that every 3- and 4-year-old child in America will go to high-quality preschool. That's part of the legislation I just brought up to the Congress. Studies show that when we put 3 and 4 years old in school, not daycare, school, we increase by up to 47% the chance that that child, no matter what their background, will be able to earn a college degree. We'll build out the first ever national network of 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations all across the country. So when you buy an electric vehicle, and you get credit for buying it, you buy an electric vehicle, you can go all the way across America on a single tank of gas, figuratively speaking. It's not gas. You plug it in. 500,000 of them. These stations along the way. We're going to get off the sidelines on manufacturing solar panels and wind farms and electric vehicles with targeted manufacturing credits. You manufacture, you get them a credit for doing it. We'll also make historic investments in environmental cleanup and remediation. That means putting people to work in good paying jobs at prevailing wage, capping hundreds of thousands of abandoned wells and gas wells, oil and gas wells, that need to be capped because they are leaking things that hurt the air. Putting a stop to the methane leaks and in the pipelines, protecting the health of our communities. The bipartisan infrastructure bill is also the most significant investment since we built the interstate highway system and won the space race decades ago. This is about rebuilding the arteries of our economy. Across the country now, there are 45,000 bridges and 173,000 miles of roads that are in poor condition. Some of the bridges you don't even take a chance of going across. They're shut down. They can't be built back to the same standard because the weather's not going to get a lot better. We just got to keep from getting a heck of a lot worse. We have to build back better and stronger. I don't want to punish anyone's success. I'm a capitalist. I want everyone to be able to, if they want to be a millionaire or billionaire, to be able to seek their goal. But all I'm asking is, pay your fair share. Pay your fair share. Pay your fair share. And right now, Many of them are paying virtually nothing. I've long said it's never been a good bet to bet against the American people. I've said that to foreign leaders as well as everyone here in this country, which means it's always a good bet to bet on the American people. Just give them half a chance. And that's what we're doing. That's what these plans do. They're about betting on America, about believing in America, about believing in the capacity of the American people. If you look at the history of the journey of this nation, what becomes crystal clear is this. I'll say it again. Given half a chance, the American people have never, ever, ever, ever let the country down. So let's get this done. God bless you all, and may God protect your troops, and I'll see you in Italy and in Scotland. Thank you.
And so that was it, folks. President Biden talking about the Build Back Better Act. In fact, the entire Build Back Better Act is 1,684 pages, as you can see on your screen right now. Yes, folks, you're looking at the official text. This is the first version, if you will, the first draft of the text of the Build Back Better Act. The entire 1,684 page bill is on your screen right now. Now, I was the first channel on YouTube to actually provide you with an entire framework of the Build Back Better Act. So definitely click like, click subscribe, and check out the other video on our channel where I break down this bill for you. But again, on your screen, you see the entire 1,684 page bill, which is the Build Back Better Act. And in the description section below, I'll provide you with the link to this entire bill in case you want to grab a cup of coffee and read 1,684 pages. So again, here it is on your screen, and you'll get a link to this in the description section below. So that's where things stand, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comment section below of this major push, this historic push, if you will, from President Biden for the $2 trillion Build Back Better agenda, on top of the $1 trillion bipartisan reconciliation plan, and of course, what Senator Mitt Romney is up to. Apparently, he likes he's modeling Ted Lasso, the feel-good American character from Apple TV. I haven't watched that show, but I hear it's pretty interesting. I just haven't had the time to get into it. But clearly, Mitt Romney is going to be busy this Halloween weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.